for a person to stand in the gap. God is looking for people to stand in the gap. I will read for you Jeremiah chapter 5, verse 1. I'll also read another verse for you in Ezekiel. It says, 1, 2, and 4, the streets of Jerusalem. See now and know and seek in her open places if you can find a man. If there's anyone who executes judgment, who seeks the truth, and if you find this person, I'll pardon her. See, God is sending in the entire city, but looking for one person. And you see, if you find that one person, I will pardon the whole city. In Ezekiel, God says, 22, verse 20, verse 30, it says, so I sought for a man among them who will make a wall and stand in the gap before me on behalf of the land, that I shall not destroy it. But sadly, I found no one. I found no one. So we all are used with those reality shows, back in the days. Now I don't watch those TVs no more. We got so many things to watch now, but there was a time, for a short time, I was kind of hooked with these shows that used to go on TV, survival. Keeps looking, people survive. They put them in adverse situation, adverse places, and then they try to survive. Each week, some of them lost, and it ends up with one. They go to many contestants, many obstacles, a lot of ordeal, and then one winner win the big prize. A lot of backbiting, a lot of hypocrisy, a lot of politics. And, well, my wife loves the first days of American Idol. When people don't know how to sing at all, go to line up to make a fool of themselves and have Simon give them the worst of speech imaginable. After Simon is done with you, you could just dump yourself somewhere. He'll tell you, you don't know. You don't have 1 inch of a singer in you. But long lines of prospect, many trials, many trials and trials, but top 10 consistent. It did get, and now it's down, and then one winner of the American Idols, and it's been years and years since I've watched it, but I used to like it. You got American Got Talent, same thing. There's The Biggest Loser, make people do exercise, do all kinds of things, and then the people who lose more, get on that scale, people who lose more. And beauty pageant, etc. But all eyes are on the winner, because the game is looking for one winner. The winner becomes the ambassador of the game or the sport. The same thing, God is looking for key people in this life. Although God is looking for everybody, but God has certain assignment where He's looking for a key person. In our generation, God is looking for key people. Many times, God is searching for just one person. And sometimes you don't think you're that important. People around you don't let you know you're important. It feels like you're not important. Yet, when you look at your life, me? Sometimes when somebody's in, and a lot of people are sitting and you look around. If there's something important, me? What is it, me? And God is pointing, yes, you. I'm looking for you. When God is up to something big, He aims at just one person. You see, He will send other people, but He's looking at one person. He needs the front runner for whatever He wants to do. Not necessarily a male, but a person, male or female. God is looking, especially now, when Satan is trying tricks, God is looking for key people to stand in the gap of this generation right now. God chose Adam to begin the human race. God chose Noah, one family, one man, to preach for 120 years. After that, to give an extension, to save the human race from extinction, God used Noah, the family of Noah. God chose Abraham, singly Abraham, to become the father of a holy nation from which he will send the Christ. God chose Jacob, grandson of Abraham, to begin the nation of Israel. God chose Joseph. Out of 12 brothers, God chose Joseph to save his people and then to become a bridge through which the children of Israel can land in Egypt, and the way they're going to spend 400 years in Egypt. When it's time to leave Egypt, God is not looking for a lot of people. God chose Moses. God didn't choose Moses on the day that Moses found out that God chose him in the desert. God chose Moses from the crib when he was just a baby. God chose Moses and sent him to receive his first instruction from the house of Pharaoh. God chose Moses. Moses didn't know he was chosen. He just coincidence. It was not coincidence. When God chooses you, it will seem like coincidence, but it's not coincidence. God picks you on purpose. God chose Joshua. See, Moses is done. Moses is died. God chose Joshua. Joshua to get Israel to the promised land. Specific person. It will be Joshua. God told Moses, it will be Joshua who finished the job, to finish the job you started. God chose Samuel to save his generation and also to bridge to the monarchy. And after Samuel anointed Saul. He also anointed David to become king of the nation. David himself, God chose David. God picked David specifically to become king and to become the line of the Messiah, because the Messiah will have to come to in such a line of a king. So an anointed king. So David was the king, that family. See, we come to women now. God chose Esther. God chose Esther to save the Jewish people when they were about to kill them. God chose Nehemiah singly to rebuild the wall. And when God is about to choose you, are you following? And when I'm speaking and I don't get your attentions back there, it's kind of, you need, I don't think you need two operators. One of you, come here. Okay? God chose, when God chose Esther, but as for Nehemiah, it starts with a burden. Nehemiah just had a burden for his people. So if you are a person with burdens, if you are a person, things bug you a lot, things that's happening around you bug you, God may be choosing you to be extra sensitive on things. Nehemiah was just sensitive of the state of the nation of Israel. That he was just sensitive that things are so bad, it got under his skin. While God was chosen, God chose him. He didn't know he was chosen. Accidentally, the king found out he's so stressed, and he had to tell the king what's going on and everything. And then he became the governor, and he rebuilt the wall. See, it linked accidentally, but it's not accidentally. God was looking for a person. At every time in history, God is looking for one person to bridge the gap, to take the lead. God chose John the Baptist and prophesied about John the Baptist long before he was born to become the forerunner of Jesus Christ. God chose Peter to be the apostle of the Jews, to also of the Gentiles, to preach the first message. Jesus picked Peter. God chose Paul to impact Christianity. Paul was on his way to persecute Christians, but God met him on the road of Damascus. And then Paul turned into a giant, a pillar to the Christian faith. God is still in the business of looking for people. Are you following? God is still in the business. Don't think that me, what's my background, my family name? You know, you may have so much you can say about yourself to think that God will not pick you. But God can pick you to become, to do what He's doing. God can pick this church to preach this message and pick a person out of this church to do that. This week, I had a chance to watch a webinar where a grant is being put out to so that Haitian pastors can fortify the pulpit and they can instruct other Haitian in the church to teach them, to coach them for tomorrow, because there's a deficit that the church are not, the new preachers are not replacing the oldest. And so they put a grant to do that. And I could not participate in that. But that's exactly what we did. What they're trying to do is exactly what we did, where we prepare people in this church to take over. And I do it, Mayani do it in technology, when she doesn't have to be there now in technology. Everything used to be her. Now she just kind of make sure things are right, and she doesn't have to be. And me, I want it to be where I'll preach only one Sunday. That's what I'm looking forward to, to preach one Sunday, or if there's room to preach. I just want this thing to go by itself. And that's what we've been doing. See, this model that we do here, casually like this, is the model they're trying to replicate elsewhere. You understand? And what we did today here can become really a march, a model to follow where others can do it. So God is still in the business of looking for people. God still has many assignments to be done on earth. Many assignments to be done on earth. I don't want you to think the world examines you. You're so small, anything. Start making a difference now. Start doing the little things that God placed in you to do. You will never know what you will do before. When I was young, I cared about God, and when I was young, and I became to care more and more about God. I didn't know I was going to become a pastor. It was not in my mind that I would become a pastor. But soon I reached a certain age, I became a president of the youth. And I spent so many years doing it. I never went back. I got married. I had to walk out from the job because God was choosing me. And I thought, okay, I'm done with church. I'll never do things, amen. I'd been there, done that. And then God was calling me to be a pastor. So those little things you see, those little dots you see in your life, it's God calling you. And because God is looking for people. God is looking for you. God has a specific assignment for you. Okay, we have many sleepers. Can you tell people sitting next to you, God is looking for you. Okay, God is looking for you. Okay? God is looking for you. God has a mission with your name on it to accomplish. God has something for you to do. In Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 1 to 2, God was in desperate need of a man with good credit, a man who could trust. Do you know if you have good credit, you can buy the whole neighborhood? If you get, I don't know what, if you have good credit, you have money, you work. You see, God was looking for a person with good credit, a man he could trust. He sent out a team looking for that man. He says, go, take your flashlight, take your scope, go in the streets of Jerusalem, look for that person. I'm looking for one person that I'm pleased with, and then I'll forgive their sins. But that man was nowhere to be found. In Jeremiah 5, verse 1 and 2, run ye, go for and to the streets of Jerusalem, and see now, and know, and ask, see, know, seek, ask, in the broad places, go everywhere. Therefore, if you find a man, if there is any that do it justly, if we can find that person that do it justly, that seeketh truth, I will pardon the whole city. God is looking for one person that I can count on this person, and I'll forgive everybody. And though they say, as Jehovah lives, surely they swear falsely. God said in Jerusalem, I could not find any. God looks for you to stand in the gap. In Ezekiel chapter 22, verse 29 to 31, it says, the people in the land have used oppression and exercised robbery. Yeah, they have vexed the poor and needy and have oppressed the sojourner wrongly. And I sought for men. God said, I'm looking for men. I'm looking for men among them that should build a wall and stand in the gap before me and the land. And I should not destroy it, but I found no one. I'm looking for a person who say, at least there's a good guy there. At least I can count on this guy to change the trajectory of evil. God says, I cannot find any. And therefore, I pour out my indignation upon them, and I have consumed them with the fire of my wrath. Their own ways have I brought upon their heads, said the Lord of Jehovah. Back in the days, every office used to have a Christians. You know, there's always one person you can count on. Even if things go bad, there's always one person. Nowadays, these people are scarce. When you go to a company, you're doing business with company, they will lie. But at least if you know one person, you say, I can go to so-and-so. I'm going to go to so-and-so. See, sometimes you go to places, some people are off. You know exactly who to talk to. Even in market, some people are looking, when you go to the bank, you're looking for this teller to take care of business. When you go to the market, when you go, you're looking for one person. That person, you know, it's fair. That person will not treat you badly. And God is looking for people like that to stand in the gap. In the Bible, it is very consistent that God grants favor to people on account of others. In Genesis, God nearly saved Sodom and Gomorrah because of the intercession of Abraham. See, if you are in good standing for God, you pray, your prayer has a lot of value. The Bible says the prayer of the righteous avails much. If you're righteous living, you please God, God is happy with you. When you ask God for a favor, it means a lot. God will do it just because of you, to honor his friendship with you. In Ezekiel chapter 22, God was looking for man so that he would spare Israel, but he could not find that person. God may want you to stand in the gap for your family. Some of you, as you know, it used to be that the parents have better spiritual life than the children. That's what it used to be. The children keep trailing the parents, keep trailing the parents. Now it's the reverse. It may be the reverse. You could be the child in the family who brings the protection of God upon the family. God is looking for you to stand for your family. God is looking for you to stand for your community. Maybe in your school, God has only you as the light he can trust. You know, people will principle, you're going to stand on your principle, you're going to follow God, you're not going to do that, you're not going to bend to the culture, to the demon of the culture. Maybe just you're just the one willing to do that. God is looking for one person to save your church, to save your school, to save your place of employment, your generation. God is looking for key person. Are you willing to be that person that God is looking for? Are you willing to be that person that God is looking for? If God was to cast judgment and in a place and he says you're coming, would God say stop, and would God say go ahead? You know, if God sent an angel to cast fire in that place because the people are so wicked, will God say stop when you walk in? Or will God say go ahead? That's how to understand it. God is looking for you to save your country, to save your race. God is looking for individual, not crowd. You are either going to step in the plate or fail to. But God is looking for you. God is looking for you. Sometimes a family is not doing well. God is looking for one person to be smart enough to go to school, to finish school, not mess up, stay in school, get a good job, save the family. God keep doing these things. One person, just like Joseph. Joseph made it to Egypt. He didn't let bitterness to overtake him. He became prime minister. From him being prime minister, he called the rest of the family and saved them and give them good land. Just Joseph. God is still looking for one person to secure family, to secure nation, to secure school, to secure society, to secure the time we live in. Are you going to be this one? Are you going to be this one that God is looking for? Every one of us has at least one major assignment on earth that only you can do. See, somebody was talking about a big void, a big black hole, and somebody says he went to heaven and sees a black hole, and then he asks God, why is this big black hole? He says, these are the unfulfilled, the people who came on earth and did not fulfill what they only should have done. It became a big void, an eternal void of waste, possibilities that God already put there, things that God were going to do through that person. That person wasted the life and these possibilities because we don't do anything. Even if you speak, you do anything, it's God who enables you. So your program is already sitting there for you. Each one of us has a program of our lives. God already has a program for your life. When you come in life, you didn't do your part, this program goes wasted. I cannot take the dust that was supposed to go in you and put it on somebody else. So if you fail to do your part, it goes wasted. And then so many people have wasted theirs. It become a big gulf, a black hole. You go in, God is looking for an individual. There's something only you can do. What you do or don't do will determine the fate of many others. If you fail to do what you're supposed to do, it will not be good for others. If you're alive in this place and time, it's not a coincidence. See, right now, nowadays, people are so invested in technology. You're not more intellectual. By the way, people before you were more intellectual than you. Don't be offended. Back in the days, people went to school. They didn't spend too much time in school. Their mind was sharp. They were a sharp mind. But nowadays, what's going on is technology. In technology, now the kids can do much more than people with good brain from back then. So if you're alive, it's not a coincidence. God placed you in life at this time. God chose you even before you were born to fulfill a mission on earth. Everyone is a Messiah of some sort because this thing that God asked you to do, if you do it, so many lives will be changed. If you do that one thing that God wants you to do, so many lives will be changed. I mean, you can change Boston, you can change Brockton, you can change Massachusetts, you can change the entire United States. Imagine Martin Luther King just complain about racism. All he does is, racism is bad, racism is bad, racism is bad. That's all he did. What will that do? Well, we will be in the same spot where he was. But he came up, I have a dream, I have a dream. And people start following him. And then all of a sudden it becomes a movement. Now we even celebrate his birthday. We even celebrate his birthday. He was not a king or president or anything, but he stand in the gap and did what he was called to do. He did exactly what he was called to do. I'm not sure you're going to be as famous as Martin Luther King was, But if you do what you're supposed to do, it's going to change everything. And Martin Luther, the same thing. We think Martin Luther King, but Martin Luther is the same thing. He's in the church. That's where you worship God. Things are not going well. I can't take that. I can't take that. I'm not going to accept that. And he rebelled, willing to pay the price. And then now we have Protestantism. Now, thank God he stands against those things. What will we do? We'll go places and see people doing magic. We'll have to accept it as God's stuff. But Martin Luther King stand against that. Now, the Christian faith take a big breath because he stood. See? But he just complained to everybody. He complaining, I don't like it here. He didn't stand in the gap. But we'll still be in those. There are problems right now that you can stand in the gap. I see little Mike is paying a lot of attention. You can stand in the gap. We have to stand in the gap. The people who have changed the world have lived selfless lives. If you're selfish, you're always going to look for more money, more money, more money. That's all you're going to start looking for, more money, and buy things for you, and then you die selfishly. The other day I see a policeman, like 4 or 5 police escorting a funeral. It's, how much you have to pay for these guys to do that for you. It costs a lot to have so many. And then they stop traffic. I'm saying, oh my goodness, a funeral. But the speed they were going, how come a funeral can go so fast? There were only 5 or 6 cars in there. This guy had money, only lived for himself. You follow what I mean? I can tell that's a rich guy to afford all these cops to follow, all that, or a lady or a guy or whatever. But how come you don't have anybody in your funeral? You have all that money to stop traffic like this. 100 people, a cop stopped right there. It's like they had cop for like 400, 500 cars in attendance. But there are only 4 or 5 cars, and then this thing was gone. That's why they're flying all over the place. There's nobody, no traffic. Why? This person, as big as that person was, only lived for himself or herself. See, and it paid, when that person died, it shows nobody came to the funeral because you affected it. That person didn't affect much. So God is looking for you. God is trying to get your attention. Each one of us is a puzzle in the grand scheme that God already designed. You're not an accident. You a puzzle. If you do your part, things will be so much better. Only by availing ourselves to God can we find true joy and fulfillment. That's the other thing. You make the money, you're not happy. You get where you wanted to get, That's why a lot of people, they push everybody to get in top, thinking that when they finally get in top, they're going to feel that, and they get it's lonely. I killed myself for that. I did all that study for that. Everybody hates you. Everybody wants you to bring you down. You gain yourself so much enemy. You mean that's all there is? They climb. That's all there is? Because they didn't pick the assignment that God. But when you pick the assignment that God gives you, it gives you joy because you see it living in other people. You see this person is okay by you. The little sacrifice you make, life is going on. Life is going on because you step in the plate. You're not happy because the joy comes to you. You're happy because you were part of what's going on. You invested yourself when you had the time. Run to the street of Jerusalem, see now and seek if you can find anybody. And if you find that person, I'll forgive her, I'll pardon her. And God could not find. In Ezekiel, God sought for a man among them because Israel was doing bad. God was seeking for one person. And he says, that person can say, at least that person can say, Lord, don't do it. And I will listen to that person. But God says, I could not find anyone. May God never have to repeat these phrases that I cannot find anyone, but I found no one. So long you're alive, God should not be able to say, I find no one. If I'm someplace, God has to find someone. If you're in school, God has to find someone. If you're at work, God has to find someone. Wherever you are, God has to find someone because you're here. You're there. Make sure you're that person who saved this entire generation, the train you sit in, the car you're driving, the bus you're in. So many things are trying to happen. But by your presence, God will send his angel to protect the whole. You'll benefit a whole lot of people by being this person you're looking for. May God bless you. May God help you to understand that. Live a holy life. Have good credit with God. And when you do, you will save you not just yourself, but you'll save the generation. You'll be a blessing to others. And you'll finish a fulfilled life. You'll have a fulfilled life. You'll be happy to see the generation after you because you invested for them. May God bless you.